I think I'm overthinking this a little bit too much. I've tried filming 100 times and it doesn't stick. I want to talk to you about the books that I've read in March. It's only been 2 books, but for somebody that hasn't read in a long time, this for me is a success. I don't need to read 100 books to feel successful. I'd rather read books with depth that make me feel something. And these books did make me feel something. So I'll take it one by one and try to tell you a little bit about the books that I finished. I'll start with this one. I have a couple of notes here. So if you see me looking down, is because I have my laptop here. I cannot keep my thoughts straight. So I have to read from the list. Now, this book focuses on Perry. And you can see there are 2 timelines. You see the past Perry and you see the present Perry. In the present, she's going to, the action takes place on a 1-day span. She's going to a dinner party with influential people. She is a wealthy woman in the present. And she's going to this party with people she doesn't necessarily like. And her bag is being stolen from her car. She takes off after the thief. She catches him, and during their fight, he takes one of the photos from her wallet, throws it on the ground, and then she remembers and thinks about her years at Oxford. That was one of those memories that you keep hidden and you don't think about it because you don't want to go there. And she relives her past, and then we get to dig into the past Perry, and we can see in the first part of the book, we can see her childhood. And in the first part, you see the family dynamic, the relationship between her father and her mother, and the relationship she had with her father. You can see both sides of this struggle. On the one side, her mother was a very religious person. She went to Mecca. She was going to the mosque, praying, and her father was not. And she's kind of stuck between the two and trying to please both of them. She's the youngest child of the family. There are 3 brothers in total. And her father encourages her to study. She's very smart. He keeps telling her this. And he wants her to go to Oxford because at some point in his youth, he has met somebody that went to Oxford and that stuck with him. So her father helps her through the years to study and finds a program for her to be accepted into Oxford. She goes there, she's making friends, and she becomes friends with 2 other Muslim girls. One who is very religious, respects tradition, she's wearing a scarf around her head, and the other one who isn't, wears a lot of makeup, heels, very skimpy outfits, and she becomes friends with both of them. At one point, they do move together, and you can see that they're having a lot of arguments between, there are a lot of arguments between the 2 friends, Mona, and the other one I think is called Sherry. And the arguments are about God and religion and terrorist attacks that come up during that time. So Perry is kind of stuck again between these religious and non-religious aspects. One of them convinces her to take a seminar on God with a professor that was very loved, or either very loved or very hated by his, what do you call those? The kids that go to school, the students. She decides to take the seminar to think on herself, she does decide to take the seminar to make sure, no, she decides to take the seminar to work on her beliefs. She's stuck in between believing and unbelieving, and she's thinking that maybe this seminar is going to help her make a decision regarding religion. I'm not going to say more about this because if you do decide to read this book, I don't want them to be any kind of spoilers. This book is filled with philosophy, nuances, love, uncertainty. You can see a child navigating the relationship between mother and father in a broken family, by also a relationship with an estranged brother that has gone to prison. I only gave it 3.5 stars. I think the relationship between her and her friends should have been deeper and explored a little bit more, as well as the relationship between her and her father. But again, this is me wishing. Overall, I did like the book. I did like the subject. I like the discussion on religion. I think I am undecided if I do believe or not in God. And I see that this is a prevalent aspect of this author's books, and I like it. I'm not going to say more about this, but I do wish I saw what happened after the police came. That's the only thing I'm going to say. I do recommend you read it because it's a good book. It's going to make you think. Maybe some of the characters could use to be a little bit more polished, but yeah, it's a good book. Moving on to this one. I remember I saw a comment at some point. Somebody asked like why Romanians don't appreciate their movies and literature, and somebody said because it is so tragic, we're still living through the tragedy and the pain of that, and I kind of felt that. So let me tell you about this book. This is one of the most tragic and sad books that I've read in my life. It made me cry several times. This book is told from the perspective of Lucu. The adult, Lucu, he is recalling the relationship between him and his friend Nuku. They have developed a deep friendship at school. They were considering each other brothers. They said that they're going to grow up together, marry sisters, both become engineers. And this allowed the main character to run away from a home that was cold, where he didn't felt love. He was the youngest of his family, and he ran into this family where he felt all of the warmth of motherly and fatherly affection. And he deeply respected his friend's father, who was a major in the army. Now, in the same time, Lucu develops a relationship with a pastry shop owner. His name is Alexe. He was selling sweets in front of the school in the beginning of the book, because that's how the book starts. He's talking about Alexe. Now, it turns out that Alexe was a spy, and unfortunately, spoiler, if you don't want to continue, don't. It turns out that Alexe was a spy, and he killed the major. And unfortunately, he did this with information he had from Lucu, because he befriended this 10-year-old, and he asked, what the major was doing, how the house was, what was his habits, and so on. So Lucu had to live with guilt for all his life, that it was because of him that the major died. Once the major died, his mother and his friend and his mother, they moved away. They moved away to Germany. They lived there for about 11 years, I believe. And in this time, Lucu felt very lost. He couldn't finish anything he started. He kept thinking of his friend. He felt like his life stopped the moment he lost his friend. In the meantime, his mother lost everything. She passed away, so he felt very alone. And during this book, you can see that this adult, it is a level. During this book, you can see that he is a young child. He's still 11 in his heart, and he has not grown into the adult that he is. He keeps thinking of his friend. He goes and watches kites, kids playing, toys in the store, because he still feels that he is 11. He does eventually meet up with his friend again after 30 years, and he is disappointed that the person that he's met is not his friend but an adult, and an adult that he doesn't recognize. And somehow he was expecting that his friend was still 11. And I don't want to say more about this, but again, this is a very tragic book. It is heartbreaking to see a child being so lost and so much tragedy, and how he has to navigate life without his brother, and he doesn't manage to become an engineer. He falls in love with the same girl that his friend has married in the end. They both joined the army. I think it is the First World War that they're talking about. And this is a book on a moral dilemma. It is a book about good and evil, and about, this book leaves you, I'm not going to spoil the end, but what happens is they both enroll in the army. It's the First World War, I believe, and they meet again in the army. They both fight for Romania, and because Nuku lived in Germany, he is considered now to be a German spy. And in the last chapter, you can see that they have caught a spy and they're about to execute him. And it turns out the spy that he has to guard, it is his friend. So the moral dilemma is, do I let my friend be executed or not? Do I betray my country or not? It is a very deep book. I'm not going to tell you what the end is, but I did love it. As much as it broke my heart and as much as I cried over this book, it is a pretty good book. And I did find an audiobook version of it. It is in Romanian, but I'm going to put it in the description bar. Have a look over it if you want. But yes, these are the two books that I've read this month, and I'm very happy that I did. I'm not in a rush to read 100 books. I like to take my time and I like to digest everything that is written, and I love that. Anyway, thank you for watching. I know I've been rambling a little bit. My cats are sleeping. They're very cute. Now, I'm gonna go continue my day, and I'm going to maybe read a little bit. I do have some books that I want to put on the list for April. Let's see if I manage to read all of them. Thank you for watching. Let me know which books did you read in March, and did you like them? Thank you. Bye.